Hey gang, Steve Angeline here with Mailbox Power and Mailbox Domination for real estate agents. My guest today is Keith Zimmer out of Portland, Oregon. Keith, how you doing?
Good. Thanks,
Great.
Steve.
I appreciate you joining me today. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So just want to remind folks out there that as of yesterday, the 1st, banner season, the name is no longer around. The name of the company now is Mailbox Power. I wanted to have Keith on. He was telling me a little bit before we started recording here about some of the successes that he's having with banner season Mailbox Power. And I just wanted to go over a little bit with him this morning. Keith, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And you're out in Portland, Oregon with EXP?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And tell me now, from what I gathered, you had a gym, a powerlifting workout type of facility.
We owned a CrossFit gym. It's kind of like that. Yeah, free weights. We owned a CrossFit gym for about 12 years.
And you told me that you grew it to one of the largest in the Northwest?
It was the largest in the Northwest by membership and space when we sold it.
Wow. Wow. And about how many members did you have at that time?
218.
Did you really? Wow. Good for you. So then you decided during that time of the transition or while you still were owning the gym that you wanted to get into real estate because it was easy, right?
Super easy. It looks easy. I want to drive a fancy car and, well, I didn't know what they did. I didn't know it was going to be so hard. I mean, yeah. You want me to tell you a little bit about like why I started?
Yeah, sure. Fire away.
So I thought owning a gym, I wasn't married, single guy, had a younger kid. He was 10 or 12. He's 12 now. So when we sold, he was 9, I guess. And I was just living like a bachelor life. I lived in a 2-bedroom house above a garage, had a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, and thought, man, this is it. This is good. And then I got married, and my sons, started getting older. I thought, well, I'm gonna probably need more income than gym income. Like, even though we were the biggest gym or one of the biggest gyms around, I wasn't a very good gym owner, money manager, maybe. I gave a lot of things away. I'm pretty generous to a fault. Anyway, so I thought, well, we'll do both. My brother is the reason I got into real estate. Is my brother, does over 100 transactions a year. He has for 15 years, very successful. So I got into real estate. Me and my wife, she was a coach for me at the gym. And then we tried to do both for a long time. And, well, not a long time. It felt like a long time. We tried to do it both for about a year. But then our gym members were struggling because we were gone and not there all the time. And they were always asking us when we're coming back. And so we found a perfect guy. He bought it. He runs it. It's still open today. My wife's there right now working out. Great guy. And then we just full-time into real estate. And one funny story real quick is, sure. I remember like when we sold, I told my brother, how long are you on the phone or what do you do? I can do half of that because I'll be happy with half of your transactions. And he laughed and he said, you'll have to work 10 times as hard as I do just to get to half. It's not as easy as you think. And I mean, it wasn't. So I think I'm in my 4th year.
Right.
And for the first 3, I honestly just thought, man, I'm missing something. There's more to it than, or maybe I'll just go back. I'll just buy a different gym in a different city. Lifting weights was a lot easier than doing real estate at first.
But, yeah, and you're a power lifter, right?
Yep, I love it. I like to lift heavy stuff.
Very, very good. Well, as you know, the joke in the industry is that to a lot of people, the heavy lifting is getting the phone off the desk, right? Yes. So, now from talking to you, you did have this past 2020, you had 24 or 25 closed transactions, right?
24. Yep.
That's fantastic. Now, my understanding is that just like 2 or 3 months ago, you kind of queued into banner season at that time, And why don't you tell me a little bit on how you are using banner season and maybe a little bit about the success that you're having with it.
Okay. So up until then, we're just prospectors, just like call all day, called expired. So most of my business back then was expireds. I'd been watching Brandon. I'm not sure if it's okay to say his name.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But
Yep.
I've been watching him for a year, kind of trying to piece together what he's doing. I love the way he comes across online. He's very just informative, but not pushy, not boring, just very much of like a guy that I feel like I could probably hang out with.
Yeah.
And super helpful and not shoving real estate down people's throat, just kind of trying to help, which was new to me because I come from a background where you just prospect and don't take no for an answer, which works, but not for me. And so then I think you were on one of his podcasts.
Yeah.
And he suggested, or at the end it said you can reach out to Steve if you want. I think I emailed you. Yeah. You jumped on a phone call with me like that day or maybe the very next day. It was fast. Talked me into just looking at banner season. They have a free, they had one. I don't know if they still do, but they have a free thing. So up until then, I had been doing all of my own mailers. I mean, before we started the podcast, I showed you I still have 3,000 envelopes over here in the closet that I try to hide from my wife. She's like, why you buy 3,000 all at once? I'm like, we're going to be rich. And I've made 15 letters that I would send out once a week. And then I would call. So I was kind of doing Brandon's system before. And then when you got on his podcast, I was like, holy cow. So before you, I was just kind of trying to piece it together and hoping I'd get it right. And I mean, if you look at my reviews on Google, you'll see that I've got 3 negative reviews on there from over mailing people. So I would forget that I'd mailed, I'm just going to use this lady's name, Laura. I would mail Laura a mail and then I would forget. I'm like, well, I didn't make notes. So I just mailed her again. And when she called, she'd got like 4 envelopes in 2 days. Cause it must have bunched up at the mail. So I got a negative review. I got a couple of negative reviews because when it was left up to me without banner season, I was just shotgunning and praying that it would work, right? Like,
sure.
Man, it's got to work because Brandon says it works. So anyway, when you said a computer will put me on a schedule and send it out on time when I want it, and it's a perfect postcard and it says what you need. And then we talked and I tried it. So I think in all honesty, like I really like Brandon a lot, but you're the one, you and Ron, but mostly you are the one that like talked me into like, just try it.
Right.
And I was on the fence of buying Brandon's program.
Yeah.
I jumped in after talking to you. I jumped in both feet and went for it. And I kind of kicked myself for not starting it a year ago. I don't know where you were a year ago. Maybe it was perfect timing, but we'll get into it, but it's literally changed the way I do real estate and changed my whole entire bank account. Right. And I'm just getting started. I've only been doing it I've been like actively doing Mailbox Power for 2 months.
Right. 2 months.
Yeah.
And tell me about your success in those 2 months. Have you gotten any listings or calls on it?
We got 11 total in the 2 months. We got 9 right away.
Wow.
So for me, the banner season, it was kind of, I always thought mailers were kind of just a waste of time. Right. Honestly, I thought, well, no, but I don't read postcards. I do, but I think I just didn't need it, right? Like, right. Oh, I don't need it, blah, blah, blah. I don't need my oil changed. I don't need car insurance. I read the headline and throw it away. But the banner, the way it works is like I do mostly for sale. All the listings that I've got were for sale by owners.
Great.
They are actively looking to get their oil changed or car insurance or to sell their house.
Right.
So when they get a postcard, it makes sense. So
Yeah.
when people say, oh, postcards don't work, well, they're only referring to that oil change postcard, but they don't need their oil change. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When you need something and something shows up in the mail, you're like, oh my gosh, I need that.
Right.
So we got 9. I still prospect, but for me, the banner season is like an anchor. Like I'll call and ask, hey, have you heard about our backup plan or our guarantee? Sorry, I'm looking back here because I got the postcards on the wall so I can refer to them in my phone calls.
Yeah.
And it's just, like I said, I mean, 11 in 2 months listings. So we got 24 total. I've done half of my business just in the last 2 months. Right. They haven't all sold. I know, like if my brother watches this, he's going to say, well, is the money in the bank yet?
Yeah.
Well, in this market, it probably is, right?
Right.
Because it's a hot market. So,
yeah.
And make a long story short, out of the 11 we got, 3 were just, I was telling you this before, just from banner season. So I had never talked to these people. They would never answer my phone calls.
Wow.
I just mailing them because they were near my farm.
Right.
I mail, no matter who pops up in my farm.
Right.
I mail them something from banner season, no matter what.
Wow.
Because I thought, I mean, so out of the 9, right? So just out of the 3 that I've never, that I never called before, is about $34,000 in the bank.
Really?
So
wow.
If
$34,000.
They haven't sold. So my brother will say,
right,
in the bank, but they're gonna. And I never talked to them. They called me after, and I was telling you this before. I just thought they were kind of a dead end mailer. I thought maybe it's a fake Zillow listing. Maybe it's, I don't know. Nobody will answer the phone.
Right.
Nobody will answer an email. I told you before, I'd call from my wife's phone. I called from a block number. Like nobody's answering this Zillow lead. Like maybe it's just a fake Zillow lead. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a scammer or something. Yeah. They called back and I was like, are you kidding me?
So 11 listings. So now, 9 of those you would prospect by calling, get them on the phone, and then would you set them up on a banner season mailing too after you've talked to them?
So the way I did it at first,
yeah,
because I was an amateur, I was just starting and I didn't know. And I think you had said, or somebody said, they just kind of mail everybody in their area.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was doing that at first. Now it's more of a precise. So instead of mailing to everybody, I hate to say this, it's kind of an intuition because I've gotten 3 calls from people that I never talked to.
Right.
So then when I say, well, maybe I'll make contact first and then ask them if I can mail something.
Right.
That'll be more a calculated money,
right,
spend of my own money. But then it'll never leave. There's this ghost or whatever in my head saying, well, 3 people called you and you never talked to them. So when I skip somebody on Zillow, I can hear that voice saying, man, that's an $800,000 house. I would just mail it to, because what if?
Yeah. Keith, that's not a ghost. That's your wife. Okay.
Yes. That's her wanting to go on vacation, right?
Yeah, that's your wife telling you that. Yeah. So you do set them up on some type of program like that. And I'm the same way. Right now, to give you an idea, I have about 50 FSBOs on my market. It's the slower time of the year. And right now I'm tracking about 30 of them. Okay. With banner season. I take the time to read the ad. I take the time to look at the pictures. Yep. If it's a dump, I don't want any part of it. Yep. If the guy, can't take a decent picture that I can even put on a postcard to make it look decent to get to him, why am I going to waste my time? Sure. With that.
You want me to tell you what I do?
Yeah.
So if it's I just in the last couple of weeks, we went on a couple of listing appointments, dumps, 400,000 in Portland, 400,000 in certain areas there's no excuse for the way these homes looked.
Right.
Like I felt like I had to burn my clothes when we left, just horrible.
Wow.
So they asked me, hey, you want to sit down? We can talk about it. I'm like, no, I'm okay standing up. It was like that dirty.
Ugh.
But the one lady, she hasn't signed yet, but she said she wants to sign. She's just kind of dragging her feet. It's a $400,000 listing. And so to go back to your point of like, you don't mail to the junkers,
Right.
man, she's one of them. And she's gonna, I don't know, unless she sells on her own, but
Right.
she has it in 97 days.
Yeah.
So the chances of her doing it by herself are minimal.
Yeah.
But I mail to even the junkers.
Yeah, but again, as we talked about before, it's 37 cents.
It's free.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You know,
We were talking about this before. Just from one transaction, pay for an entire year of everything you do. So I can calculate easy. There's 117 for sale by owners in my area.
Right.
I could mail them all a postcard or 2 postcards every week. My campaign is 15 weeks because I'm analytical and I make things too long, right? Like it's too much, but it's not every day. It's every 5 days.
Right.
So, but I could mail all of them, put them all on it and let every campaign expire. And I could mail everybody 15 pieces of mail.
Yeah.
And one listing will pay for more than it cost me to mail everybody. So when we were talking about calculated risks and it's hard for me to spend money when I am not 100% sure it's going to work.
Right.
Okay. When I mail things, I'm like, well, maybe, like I said, maybe it's a scam. Maybe it's not working. Maybe I got the tax address wrong, or maybe this, maybe that. And I can't tell people how to spend their money, but I got 3 phone calls, 3 active listings that are from people that never answered their phone, never responded to a text.
Yeah.
So like we said a minute ago, that ghost in my head is like, well, it's a $12,000 paycheck if you're right, but if you're wrong, who cares? It's literally like $8.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
And I don't want to, like, what some people we have a group like the Facebook group, and some people are like, oh, it's late, or it's a week late, or it's out 10 days. If I thought that too, like maybe I'm too late, but if I'm really doing my job, for sell by owners don't necessarily want an agent for the first few days. Everybody's different, right? But most for sell by owners don't convert right away.
Right.
So if banner season is late, it might be on purpose.
Right.
I think they're kind of genius. Like, so if my mailer got there on time, it's going in the garbage because they don't want an agent yet. Right. They won't even respond politely on the phone yet. I think there's levels to a for sale by owner where at first they're like, nope, I don't need an agent, and I'm smarter than you. And then a little bit of time goes by and they're like, well, maybe I need some help.
Yeah.
That's when you want that postcard to be there. Does that make sense? Like, you never know when they're going to give up or seek out help, but you want that postcard to be consistent. So you own their brain kind of. I don't know how to say that, but they're already thinking like, man, I need help, but I threw that postcard away. I wish I wouldn't have thrown that postcard away, man. And then guess what? You're in there every 5 days. You're going to get one tomorrow.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be like, that's the guy. Call him, honey.
Yeah, you're 100% right, and I agree with you. I also tell people that I talked to a young kid out of New Jersey about a week ago, and he's petrified of picking up the phone and calling. Okay, petrified. And I told him, I said, well, maybe you should try going on FSBO open houses, get face to face, get some of that out of the way. But I said, but then I go, how many open houses can you get to in the course of the year? I busted my butt and I got to about 75 a year ago. but there was still 200 and some FSBOs I never touched.
Yeah.
So what I tell people is that a combination of mailing and calling or going to open houses or going to previews, you got to package the whole thing together,
Yep.
but you'll get nothing from nothing if you don't try something.
Yep.
You know,
Yes, great.
and that's what I preach, is that my goal this year is 100 open houses. I'm only hoping that COVID-19 allows that.
Sure.
But
Sure.
I know out of the 350, give or take, FSBOs, I'm going to be in their face with something, either
Yep.
my face or my voice,
Yep.
or my postcard is going to be in there. I don't know if you're Shark Tank a fan.
I've seen it before, yeah.
Yeah, I love Shark Tank, and I love the guy named Mr. Wonderful. He says, I tell every one of my dollars to go away and bring back one or two friends. And it's the same philosophy I have with my postcards. I tell every one of my 37-cent postcards, go find me a listing and bring it back to me.
I'll never forget that. Yes.
Because
that's how it works, right? Like you
Yes.
mail out something.
Yeah.
And even the ones that I had made contact with and I was mailing them, and I call them on Monday and ask them if they got the mail last week or they got a postcard, and if they have any questions about a program we run, or a lot of my postcards are like savvy seller or no contract, no binding contracts, or 1% listing, possible 1% listing if they find their own buyer, like they're still in control. So they call, or I call, and they just ask questions like, well, what does that mean?
Right.
And it opens up the conversation of, I think me and you have probably been doing it long enough that the goal is to go see them.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Don't give them too much. I call it, keep them on an information diet. You
Yes.
don't want to give them everything over the phone.
Yeah.
Try to get that appointment. Some people just won't meet you.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that, but I try to keep them on the information diet. So when they start asking questions, I'd ask them, hey, can we set up a time? I'm going to be in that area anyway. Like Brandon says, it's no big deal. I'll be there anyway. I'll stop by for 10 minutes and we can talk about the postcard, show me around the house if there's anything new. And it's just that postcard, texting or calling. I would say if you have clients that are afraid of calling, try texting a little bit. But your goal, I think there's steps.
Yes.
Is if you're going to text, you're trying to get them on to the next step, which was be a phone call. And then to a face-to-face. I have in the past texted to a preview appointment. The thing about text that I'm learning is I think a lot of people in today's day and age is they rely solely on text.
Right.
And in all honesty, I've taken a listing through text and then just showed up with a listing agreement and they signed it. It was easy. But the chances of that ever I can't go on vacation banking on that happening consistently.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was a fluke. It happened. Okay, great. But texting is an easy way to also get information from somebody and then dismiss them. When they get all the information, they're like, okay, it didn't make sense. And texts don't come across like me and you are looking at each other and we're smiling. Our power is face to face.
Right.
Yes. When you get face to face, they know you're friendly. They can read you.
Right.
Depending on if you got a mask. In Portland, we have to wear a mask. But whatever. I mean, they can just kind of hear it. They can see your mannerisms. So you're just trying to get to that face to face through whatever means. And I think, I'm telling you, postcards kind of changed the way I'll do everything. 100%.
Fantastic. You know, and we alluded to Brandon in this for the folks out there that don't know, that's Brandon Mulrenin, FSBO Domination, fantastic program. Keith and I are both a member of that program. And one thing that Brandon has always taught that stuck in my mind now for over 2 years is face-to-face changes everything.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer of that.
I was against it, Steve. Don't tell Brandon, but I didn't think it worked.
Yeah.
Because I always kind of jokingly told my wife, like, oh, great, we're going to go look at more toilets.
Yeah.
I don't like, the homeowner, they want to show you, and for some reason, they want to show you the bathroom. Like, come here, look at the bathroom. Like, it's just a toilet. So I didn't like it. And then
Right.
Brandon, I mean, I seen people on his group having success. So I'm like, I'll do it, but it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So when I signed up with Brandon, I was kind of like, man, there's got to be more to real estate than just 10, 15 transactions a year.
Right.
So when I signed up with you guys, I thought, I'm just going to do it. I did not believe in mailers, and I did not believe in previews, and I did not believe in like being soft and easy to prospects.
Sure.
Letting them say no and being okay with like, okay, I'm not sure we're supposed to work together.
Yeah.
Would you like to have a meeting and we can talk about it? We'll go over some options. I would have never thought about saying the stuff you guys say. So at first I thought, man, these guys are crazy, but you guys were talking about how successful other agents were. So when I signed up, I thought, I'll just try it. I mean, what can hurt? I'm going to go in 100% for 90 days. If it doesn't work, I'm good. I'll be done.
Right.
But now, man, I can't get enough of it.
Yeah. And the one thing that I liked about it, and I tell people, you know, I've owned my own company for 35 years prior to getting into real estate and whatnot. And I was never a high pressure guy. And it's brought a tremendous amount of joy to me to come to from value. Yeah. And I get it, you know, in this industry, if you get 5%, you're king of the hill, right? 5-6%.
Yeah.
But that still means you're failing 90-some%. Yeah. But I can honestly say that I enjoy coming from value because I feel like I'm not just trying to take from them. I feel like that there's a thing. And I had one lady called me 3 times, you know, apologizing she didn't list with me. Sure. And I said, it's okay. It's okay if it doesn't sell. Well, you were so nice, you know, and I'm saying to myself, well, if I was so nice, why didn't you give me, you know, so, but that's okay, you know, with that. But I really appreciate, Keith, you sharing your story with that. And I appreciate how both in Brandon's Facebook group, FSBO Domination, and my Facebook group, Mailbox Domination for real estate agents, you're an active member, and you help a lot of people.
Say thank you enough. Like I mean, there's been a lot of people in my little journey, whatever, right. And it's far from over. I still got 20 more years of this stuff. Unfortunately, I wish I could retire tomorrow, but the amount of you guys have just literally changed so I enjoy giving back, if that makes sense. I enjoy like helping, and you guys have, that is probably the first time I ever told you thanks screen to screen, but I appreciate you, Steve, and you've literally changed. I have a 12-year-old son.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with COVID, but I'll buy him a car when he graduates. I was going to say you probably upped his level of college he's not going to go to college in town. He can go to a different college just because the amount of money that you guys have shown me is actually possible.
Yeah.
It's just, it's life-changing. And I've told Brandon this before too, is like, you two alone have probably changed my life more than, I hope my current real estate coach doesn't see this, but more than any other people ever in my real estate, besides my brother.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And from the bottom of my heart, I sincerely appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Maybe I should get it from you in writing. I'll put it on the refrigerator and tell my wife for 35 years, see, look at.
Yeah, I'm helping somebody.
Yeah. But no, I sincerely appreciate that. And Keith, thanks for sharing your story. I know in our group, we have a lot of people out there that are skeptical, you know, about it. Will it work? Will it won't work? And I think that you and I are cut from the same cloth. It 100% won't work unless you try it.
Well, like you said, it's not 95% of the time. It's not going to work.
Yes,
I know, and it's hard. I'm analytical, so I focus on what's working and what's not working. And I tend to just focus. I am guilty. I tend to focus on what's not working more than what is working.
Yeah.
But the consistency with your program, you and Brandon combined, makes the 5% that's successful bigger than the 95% failure, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Now I can like I got 9 listings, and not everybody's going to get 9. That might have just been luck, right? Because it kind of slowed down. I took 9 in the first month, and I took 7 the first month, and now it took 4. So
Yep.
it slowed down a little bit. In your defense, it was working banner season was working so well. I added a mailer per week, and then it was too much. I think I was anyway. So now I'm back to just the basics, but the success, the small amount of success is so bright that now I'm not so focused on the 95% failure, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like I'm still failing. I'm failing 95, 97% of the day. Like most of the stuff I'm doing, I'm not standing on a pile of money.
Right.
But in a year, well, I probably won't be because the kid needs to go to college, but you and Brandon helped me let him go to a better college. It's just, I don't know how to say thanks.
Well,
I'm kind of stumbling over my words, but
I appreciate a great deal. That means a lot. I'm excited. I spent about 10 days of the break developing my Mailbox Power banner season. I can't get stuck. They changed the name. I'm still stuck in the last year. But developing my program that I'm going to use for mailings for expires.
Okay.
And how I'm tweaking that. So I'm doing the first 13 expires are going out in the mail tomorrow. On Monday. And I'm going to try to test that and refine that and see how that goes. And then once I feel I've got it kind of down and I'm not wishy-washy, I'm going to bring that to the group. But
I love it.
You know, Keith, thanks again for sharing the time on this holiday weekend. I appreciate your words and your kindness. I hope that you have a happy new year. Let's have a great new year out there.
Yeah, for sure.
And thanks again for sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. I appreciate everything. I'll never be able to say thanks enough. So thank you again.
And if somebody wanted to reach out to you, Keith, is there an email address, the best way to get in touch with you?
Probably Facebook, Keith A. Zimmer, or keith@teamzimmer.com. But Facebook's probably easier, Messenger, and then I'll send them my phone number and they can call or text if that's what they want to do, or just stay on Messenger, whatever.
Great. Can you repeat that one more time? The Messenger?
It's just Keith A. Zimmer. Man, I don't know if I still have a CrossFit on Facebook or not. It's just my Keith A. Zimmer.
Okay.
And my company's name is Team Zimmer. Pretty basic. I try to keep it basic so I don't forget where I'm supposed to be every day.
Very good. Keith, thanks again. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks again.
You too. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Bye.